And just do a quick report out of the conversations you just had. I know we squeezed it, and believe it or not, each of the teams could have said more. I don't know that you could have heard more, but they could have said more. There's just so much going on, and we have to figure out a way to sort of communicate that efficiently to the whole group. I just wanted to explain those drawings outside. This was going to be originally part of Dwayne's presentation, but we had to cut it short. One of the reasons it's so critical to get all those short-term projects done quickly is there's really important stuff that we can't get to until that stuff gets done, including the Next Generation East Side project, which would be a second train station. It's just a matter of time before the current train station blows up on its own success, whether that's 5 years or 10 years. It's not going to be much longer than that. And we can't wait for 10 years to start building a second station. We have to have it done by then. The beauty of the East Side is it's a blank canvas on which we can paint the future. And from that fully envisioned future, we can abstract elements that then get applied elsewhere in Stamford. There's no other equivalent opportunity to that is so much of a blank canvas. And these drawings are whimsical in some ways, idealistic, conceptual ideas of what a transit village of the future might look like around the new station on the east side. This is one that surrounds a station with a park. This is one that surrounds it with a lake. And this is a blow-up of what the station element might be. This is a kind of a highly engineered canvas canopy. The station itself is underground, under the park, under the lake. This stone wall, which is something that we can't get around, it's a raised embankment, is a kind of Inca-style piece of sculpture. So when you allow yourself to have a blank canvas and imagine a fully connected future, the stuff that you're capable of doing is really amazing. So I hope these drawings are an inspiration for you in everything that we do. So I just didn't want to miss that opportunity to make a pitch on that project because I think it's so exciting. So why don't we go around, just give us one key idea that emerged in your conversation, whoever is moved to do that. Laz, you want to start up here on one and we'll just go across? You guys can leapfrog each other. So Rod, get ready on table 2 while table 1's going. Julia.
I think after several minutes of conversation, the net of the table felt that the goals were so lofty as to be difficult to achieve. And if there could be some central direction that helped to set some metrics, to evaluate priorities, to be able to list the various things in some sort of short, medium, and long-term goal so that committees could work against some specific outcomes, that in fact that we could see some return, but otherwise the fear of this committee is that when do we stop talking and when do we start acting?
Like 50 improvements to the pedestrian experience in 500 days, like people going into classrooms this month. I don't know how much more action-oriented you could get than that, but go ahead. Celeste.
One of the things that our table felt was missing was our partners, and we defined partners in this case as being our political partners, our corporate partners, and our youth. So we want to, and we've got ways of imagining how to get more young people involved, how to try and reach out and get more corporate people involved, and how to try and lasso our political people as well.
Sometimes people will fool you by their casual dress, and they are really corporate people here in disguise. Kathy.
Our group really loves the 50 projects in 500 days, thinks it's very clearly able to be implemented and cutting across the different teams. We talked about the idea of using kids as a volunteer pool for community service credit that would help do some of the 50 projects, and that, again, cutting across to the Stamford Innovation Center, that getting media in the hands of kids is a way to really help them structure their stories. It's a way to help document the role that they're playing in getting creative habitat projects developed. So we think that there's lots of opportunities for the projects that the teams have identified so far to reinforce each other.
Great. Hank?
We talked, I like that idea coming from table 3, by the way. It's do it now, do these things that are achievable today, so we can get on to bigger and better things. So we spent a long time talking about cross-fertilization between Group 1 innovation and Group 2 education, and really thought that there was some opportunity with internship programs, and well, first of all, the thing that we can do this next month is look for those innovators and filling up those time slots in the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade to motivate the next generation of leaders. We talked about the program that already exists here in the Stamford school system for high school seniors and juniors. We have actually a graduate of the program at our table, so it does work. It needs to be, more of it needs to be done. And then there are some divides that we talked about, technology in schools, and that digital divide that we talk about that exists. But innovation and education is something that those two programs can certainly benefit from each other.
Susan?
We talked about we were struck by the absence of conversation about the role of the arts in making a better community and better region, and felt that that was a really important piece that we need to talk and think about more. We also noted that in the list of transit projects sort of in the calendar, a lot of them toward the top were really car-based projects, and the real transit projects were down at the sort of 2020, 2018 level or whatever, and that was a concern that everyone had, you know, still focused so much on the automobile.
David?
Yep. So two things. One, you know, we obviously talked about a lot about 50 and 500, but particularly the role that it can play within Reinventing Stamford in engaging people in short, easy wins and demonstrating success that'll exponentially increase our success rate for the larger stuff down the road. And then the other thing we talked a bunch about was harnessing NEC and the partnership of the cities along the corridor, specifically within Connecticut, around a common agenda to advocate to the state on transportation capital planning, increased revenue for transportation, because Stamford can't do that alone.
Valeria?
We talked primarily about the commitment here to innovation and the need to be entrepreneurial. I would add that 100% of the people at this table committed to a team, and of the 100%, 4 of them are committed to innovation. So the thought was that if we can't create a mecca for entrepreneurs and make this the place that they want as a destination, we won't be able to transition into the next millennium.
Who's reporting for that table?
Well, I thought I would.
Okay, Ron.
Being the only non-Stanford person in the room after Laz. We had a really lively discussion, and I think there was a concern that I heard